Yo, what's good, gang? All right. So, life is all about betting on yourself, taking chances. Some may work out for you, some might not. But in today's video, we're going to check out some NBA players that bet on themselves and came through clutch and got that contract. Now we know it's a lot that have turned down the contract in the last few years. Dennis Schroeder, that failed to get that bag. I don't know why. Victor Oladipo. I can name more. But we have seen dudes fumble the bag on the way to the bag by not taking the bag that they were provided. But today we're going to find out guys that earned that bag, deserved that bag, and they still got that bag. You feel me? And hey, I'm trying to get my bag on this YouTube stuff. So y'all go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And other than that, we're gonna get straight into it. Oh shoot, hold on, let me get my headphones. Other than that, hey man, let's get straight into it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's get it. I wonder who deserved their contract or who didn't know.
I've made plenty of videos before of players who turned down a lucrative contract offer.
Dennis Schroeder,
Instead,
what I
they
say?
rejected it and then proceeded to fumble the
What
bag.
I say? Fumbled the
Some
fucking
notable
bag,
examples
Dennis.
in the past include Nerlens Noel or Dennis Schroeder, though in Noel's case, it was more so that Clutch Sports screwed him over.
First off, that nigga was trash.
However, what
Nerlens
about
Noel
players
was
on the
trash.
other end of the spectrum? These players rejected a contract because they wanted to bet on themselves to perform better. And they actually did get a bigger payday later. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and in this video, let's take a look at some NBA players who bet on themselves and succeeded.
Andy Hoops, I fuck with you, my guy.
But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to my
We ain't worry about your sponsorship, Dave. We're gonna pause that right there, skip through his little sponsorship. All right. Please excuse the train in the background. Thank you.
Tobias
It's like
Harris.
4 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning.
In the summer of 2018, Tobias Harris just came off the best season of his career. In the previous year, he got traded mid-season from the Pistons to the Clippers.
Hey, he's
But
still
for the whole
eating.
season, he put up career highs in points and three-point percentage. For his efforts, the Clippers offered him a 5-year, $80 million deal.
5 and 80?
A solid offer for a young player with his level of production. But
And I believe that deal expires this year with him on the 76ers, 5 years, 2018. Yep, so he's a free agent after this year.
for Tobias, that wasn't good enough.
And dang.
He bet on himself to play even better and improve even further to earn more. The Clippers realized that Harris wanted more money, but they weren't willing to offer him the max he was looking for. So they traded him away to the Sixers.
Which is
About
wild.
to be a free agent in the summer of 2019, Harris played out the rest of the season in Philly.
Killing
He was
him, too.
alright. I mean, he had some impressive games, but overall, I don't
That's
think
all
anyone
you
viewed
need,
him as
though.
anything more than an above-average
Bro,
starter.
yeah, he a good role player.
In the playoffs against the Raptors, where the Sixers eventually lost in Game 7, Harris had a mediocre series. However, the Sixers' priority over the summer was to re-sign Jimmy Butler, but he didn't want to stay. Butler
So they
had
had to-
disagreements
hey, they
with the
had-
Sixers coaching
they had-
staff
hey,
and
yep.
wasn't a fan of some of the players there.
So they had to get the money to
As a
somebody.
result, the Sixers didn't have much of a choice. Butler was already gone, so they couldn't just let Harris walk for nothing. They would have lost their second and third options in free agency for nothing. And so,
Hey, hold on. I know this is a little off subject, but that team was fucking dominant, bro. Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid, and you got role players like Tobias Harris and JJ Redick, bro. That team should have went to the NBA Finals. That Sixers team should have went to the finals. No cap at all.
they caved in to his demands, signing him to a ludicrous 5-year, $180 million deal.
God damn.
It was a tremendous overpay at the time, and it still is today. At the time, though, the Sixers didn't have any choice. In 2019, guys like Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Kyrie Irving were all free agents. But the Sixers weren't getting any of them. They had to make some sort of move to keep the roster intact, as they were so close to making the conference finals. But I bet they're regretting it now. Harris's contract has been a huge bottleneck for the Sixers' attempts to build around Embiid. He's making near max money, but is nowhere close to being a max player. Jimmy Butler.
Okay, so for that one, with him betting on himself, I get it. I get it. It's more so that it wasn't because he bet on himself. It's more so the situation made it to where they had to pay him. They had to pay Tobias. They needed somebody that could shoot. Once Jimmy left, they was like, shit, Ben can't shoot. Joel can't do it all on his own. I guess we got to pay this guy who's decent. We got to give him this bag. We got to give the decent guy the bag. You feel me?
Speaking of Butler, he's actually the first player that comes to mind when I think of guys who bet on themselves and succeed.
Oh, Jimmy Butler's a dog. He's one of my favorites.
When he was a youngster on the Bulls, Butler was known primarily as a defensive powerhouse, but offensively, still a work in progress. Coming off his third season, he put up modest averages of 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists.
Yeah, that's playing with
but
D
struggled to find
Rose
his rhythm to score.
Taj Gibson.
This was his first season as a full-time starter, and he played over 38 minutes a game. Typical for the Thibodeau-era Bulls. After the season, the Bulls offered him a 4-year, $42 million extension.
Trash.
It was a reasonable offer, but he rejected it.
Trash.
Now, that money definitely would have been more than Butler has seen in his entire life, but he wanted
That's a
more,
trash-ass deal,
way
though.
more. He believed he could be way better, and with his renowned work ethic, that wasn't out of reach. A reporter once asked him why he rejected this extension, and questioned if he wanted to remain in Chicago for the long haul. Butler responded, quote, "It came down to me deciding that I want to bet on myself. It was about me believing that I put the work in this summer to become a better player with the hope that my improvement will give the Bulls a better chance to win a championship."
He was the best player on the team.
His hard work over the summer paid off.
Damn
In
right.
his fourth season, Butler blossomed into an all-star, now averaging over 20 points a game, one of the best two guards in the NBA, as he took over as the best player on the team and took home the Most Improved Player award. In the 2015 playoffs, he impressed even further, holding LeBron to sub 40% shooting, while still maintaining his offensive production.
I will say Jimmy is one of them dudes that give LeBron a headache. I'm not gonna lie though, the Bills didn't try to build around Jimmy Butler. I feel like if the Bulls built around Jimmy Butler would have been a straight dog on the Bulls still. I feel like he brings that grit and that grind, that grimy and that tough that a lot of teams can't handle or don't understand. The Timberwolves couldn't handle it. The Sixers, well, I flipped that. The Timberwolves didn't understand it. The Sixers couldn't handle it. The Sixers couldn't handle it because they had too many personalities in that locker room already. You got soft-ass Ben Simmons. You got outspoken Joel Embiid. And then you got dog-ass Jimmy Butler. You can't have all three of them in a room. Somebody's going to get their feelings hurt, Ben. And then somebody's going to have to leave, Jimmy, because sooner or later it's going to become like he did with the Timberwolves. Excuse me if I'm rambling, though. But like he did with the Timberwolves. He's going to test you and your manhood and your toughness. Are you really built for this game? Are you really a dog and a hooper like you say you are? Because when you're trying to get somewhere, both of those things go hand in hand. And like Jimmy said, the Timberwolves were straight up soft. Straight up soft. That's why he got out of there. They was too soft. They was cotton candy, mashed potatoes, baby food, all that. As for the Sixers, there was just a lot of personalities, and some of them couldn't take personal criticism from their teammates.
Due to his improvement, he was awarded a
even though we know it wasn't
$92 million extension.
Look,
over twice
an
as
extra
much
year,
as the previous offer,
but $50
and he
million
was worth
more.
Every penny of this new contract.
$50 million more than what they
fact,
originally.
I'd even argue he was underpaid for what he produced.
Bet on
in the years
yourself.
Following it.
Oh yeah, he
Butler
should have
arguably
easily
the
got
best
$100 million
rags to riches story
contract.
in history. He's been betting on himself his entire life.
Damn
and
right.
Continued to succeed.
Jimmy Buckets.
This time, it's no different.
Jimmy Buckets.
Jeremy Grant. Now, this is an interesting case.
Let's see.
Back in late 2020, Jeremy Grant just came off a great series against the Lakers in the bubble. The Nuggets were already stacked with young talents, but they still believed Grant could be a core part of this team. They needed his defense.
Yeah,
and they still wanted to keep him.
He's an average player,
The thing
though.
is,
Average
during
as
free
fuck.
agency, both the Nuggets and the Pistons offered him the exact same contract,
Oh.
a 3-year deal worth $60 million.
Okay, so my question is to you guys: would you pay Jeremy Grant $20 million a year? Think about that. Would you, as a GM of a team, whether you're the Nuggets, the Pistons, or whoever, and that was his value, would you pay him that? Do you think he's worth that 60 million, 20 million a year? I don't. He's a good 10 to 15 guy, if you ask me.
Grant, being an unrestricted free agent, had the choice to go wherever he wanted. Despite having a solid season with the Nuggets and having an established role on the team, Grant took the Pistons deal instead,
which is stupid.
They promised him the chance to be the franchise,
which is crazy. I think he would have been a key piece
it
to
was kind
the
of
Nuggets defense if he would have stayed.
At this point of his career, nobody viewed Grant as anything more than a solid role player.
That part.
The Nuggets already
he always been a role player.
Money,
even when he was on
Grant
OKC, he was a role player.
If he does succeed in being the first option on this team, his value would skyrocket and he'd get an even bigger contract down the road. It was a huge bet on himself that he can do this, because if he failed, who knows if he'd be in the league after that. In 2 years in Detroit, Grant did show he can be a score-first player.
Let's see. So his points went down, his rebounds went down, his assists went down, and his shooting basically stayed the same. He is not worth more money than he's already getting paid, if you're me. And I want to see what Detroit offered him, because that's just ludicrous right there. He is not worth more money. He actually went down. What value did he bring? He didn't go up. He didn't go up. He went down.
Efficiency dropped and he was quite inconsistent. He had games where he truly shined in the spotlight. Then, when he got to Portland, his experience from Detroit transferred over, and now he's flourishing, playing alongside a superstar like Dame.
Yeah,
now,
but
he put himself in position to earn another huge payday.
They better not pay him.
If he stayed on the Nuggets, who knows where his career could have gone.
They better not pay
Perhaps
that man.
He'd never get this opportunity
over
to have the
$100
green
million
light he does now.
Not worth it.
Fred VanVleet.
Fred VanVleet is the ultimate bet on yourself guy. Fred VanVleet.
There's no player in recent times who fits the definition of bet on yourself more than Fred VanVleet.
I'm just
Despite
saying.
going undrafted in the 2016 draft, VanVleet worked his way up to becoming a valuable piece for the Raptors during their championship run, and eventually an all-star. What made his journey so special and so risky was that he had multiple chances of signing a long-term deal, but it was never enough money for him, especially not the kind he was looking for.
Especially he was playing behind Kyle Lowry too. People gotta remember that.
I'm trying to get paid, man.
I've
won a championship. Now it's time to cash out.
You gotta think about that. He been playing behind Kyle Lowry, but he was still shining. He understands once you're a champion, and especially as a starting point guard, that $100 million bag is what you're going for. Nothing under 100. Nothing under 100.
I just want to feel my value reciprocated on the other side.
And sometimes you do got to bet on yourself in life.
Prior to the championship, VanVleet was offered an undisclosed long-term deal back in 2018. Reports suggested it was a 4-year deal worth around 30 to 35 million. At that time, he was still coming off the bench, so that would have been a good deal for him.
But that's like
a lot of money, especially for an undrafted player. But instead, he negotiated for a shorter-term deal, a 2-year deal instead, worth 18 million.
$9 million.
The Raptors
were
fine with that because in the off chance that VanVleet doesn't pan out, they can cut their
losses.
They
saved a lot of money
when
if he
Masai
didn't pan
Ujiri
out.
completed the deal, he had this to say about him. We all know Fred's personal motto is bet on yourself. We know that Fred is no gamble. He's hardworking, dedicated, and smart, and has been fantastic for us.
That's facts.
We're thrilled he'll be a big part of the Toronto Raptors for seasons to come. That 2-year deal gave him and the team flexibility, but little did they know, VanVleet quickly went from a solid bench player to a highly capable starter. For his efforts, the Raptors rewarded him with a 4-year, $85 million.
4-year, $85 million. Mind you, he just came off a 2-year, 18, $19 million deal. And now they're offering him $4 and $85. He says, if you're offering me $4 and $85, somebody is willing to pay me $5 and $120, $5 and $110, $5 and $100, $4 and $100. You got to remember, these companies, these businesses, they're about making their money, not giving you their money. So whatever they value you at, whatever your pay rate is, just know that you can always get that higher if you know how to negotiate, because there's always room to negotiate. So he said, if you mark me at this, I know it can go up.
But it doesn't stop there.
Supply and demand.
In recent times, it's been reported that VanVleet was offered another 4-year deal.
4-year,
this time worth
$114.
$114 million. Apparently, this happened during the 2022
God
offseason.
damn.
But VanVleet did not accept it.
What?
Though the reports have been conflicting, and we don't know if this offer was actually on the table.
I think it could have
I
been.
wouldn't be surprised if VanVleet bets on himself again and wants even more money.
That part.
Jalen Brunson.
This guy really bet on
Kind of
himself.
messed up the whole Jalen Brunson side.
Oh, they fucked up.
They were trying
They
to negotiate
fucked
a
up.
new contract for a while, but it wasn't until after the 2022 deadline when they finally offered him an extension. The Mavs offer was 4 years, $55 million, which Brunson rejected.
Nope. Y'all just went to the
reason
Western
Mavs
Conference
waited
Finals.
so long to give him that offer was because he struggled in the previous year's playoffs against the Clippers. They weren't sure if they wanted to commit to this guy. For Brunson, he felt like he deserved better, so when he finally did get the offer, it was too late. Not only was he balling out and felt like he deserved more, but he bet on himself to play out the rest of the season and exceed his own expectations.
I would.
Which he did.
Yep.
The 2022 playoffs featured an underdog Mavs team that surprisingly reached the Western Conference Finals. During that run, Brunson really came into his own. He averaged over 21 points
And he was
a game
cooking
and
that
became
whole
the right-hand
playoffs,
man
too.
that Luka desperately needed. However, when their season ended, it was clear that Brunson was unsure of what to do. He still felt like he got slighted by the Mavs, even when they upped their offer to over $100 million.
All right, so 5 and 106. Would you give Jalen Brunson that 5 and 106? I mean, after you take me to the Western Conference Finals, Mark Cuban ain't a stupid man. That's a good deal. To me, that's a good deal. I'll take that deal. But again, if they're offering me this, I know my value is worth more. You have to know your value, especially these NBA,
Instead,
NFL
Brunson
players.
accepted the Knicks
NFL
offer,
players get screwed
so
more
he
than
can
anybody,
have the
though.
chance to run his own team.
He
I
accepted
don't
the
blame
4
either
and 1
side, to
Of
be
course you
honest.
would.
Perhaps the Mavs did wait too long to commit to him, and Brunson didn't really blow up until the latter half of 2022. So I don't blame the Mavs.
I'm
for
glad he
not
got
committing
traded,
to
though.
him
You know
early.
why? Because I don't think he wanted to be
It
there
was
anymore.
a risk from both sides, but it worked out, for Brunson at least. Anyway, that's all, folks. Those were 5.
So what do y'all think? Because I feel like out of everybody, the ones that bet on themselves and won, Fred VanVleet, Jalen Brunson, and Jimmy Butler. Really Jimmy Butler and Jalen Brunson. Tobias Harris kind of fell into a bag. And it'd be like that sometimes. But that's going to do for this one, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Y'all go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, click that bell. Tell me who y'all think deserves a bag that got a bag and who doesn't deserve a bag that got a bag. But that's going to do for this one, man. Catch y'all on the next one. This your boy Weasel, and we out this thing. Yee!